welcome to our first storyteller, Daniel Weinreich.
Hello. It's 2006. I'm living in Vermont in a cabin. I don't have a fever, but I had just moved there from Sacramento, where I was working as a consultant, making about a six-figure salary. And so now I'm living in a Vermont cabin, and it's got a beautiful panoramic view through these gorgeous windows. It's across the river from Dartmouth, and I couldn't be happier. The thing is, after I left my job as a consultant, I was kind of burnt out, so I decided to do some domestic service in the domestic Peace Corps, which is called VISTA or AmeriCorps. So I went from six figures to basically go figure about $8,000 a year, and which means I didn't have a lot of money. So July and August were great, and September comes and my friends are buying their kiln-dried pre-split wood. And I'm like, no, I've got the Subaru, I'm gonna get a chainsaw, I'm gonna get some logs, I'm gonna buck them, I'm gonna split them, I'm gonna stack them. And so, that's the plan. So I go down to Sears, I get a green monster made by Poulin, okay? And it is truly terrifying. I'm very proud that I'm about to become a lumberjack and very afraid that I'm about to kill myself. So I get the Poulin, I've got the logs, I've got about 15, 20 logs, 10 feet, 10 feet length each. They weigh about a half ton. Get up to first morning, 6 a.m., buck the first logs. I've got 8 pieces, go to work, come back, go to sleep, wake up at 6 a.m., pull on the cord. The green monster doesn't start, so I pull the cord again. Clearly, the green monster is dead. Okay, so I go down Route 4 to Charlie Brown's repair shop. Seriously, Charlie Brown's repair shop. The owner, Charlie, says, looking at the Poulin, he's seen it before, he says, that is an anchor with a chain on it. All right, so much for saving money. He sells me a true monster. It's a red Shindewa 403 with 40 cubic centimeter displacement and an 18-inch bar. And so I start knocking out those logs. Because it's now September, and there's this anxious voice going through my head saying, get in the wood, winter is coming, right? So 6 a.m. every morning I'm up, I'm bucking the logs, I'm splitting them, I'm walking up the hill with the wheelbarrow and I'm stacking them until I have a stack of wood that is 4 feet wide, chest high, and 24 feet long. That's a 3-cord stack of wood. I couldn't be more pleased. And I start talking about this with my friend Peter, right? He splits, or he cuts down wood in typical Vermont gear, which is sweatpants and sneakers, right? That's what everybody does, except for me. I've got on Kevlar chaps and steel toe boots. All right. So I've got my wood split and I've got my wood stove. This is a great cast iron wood stove. The sides are so thin that if I turn out the lights while a fire is going, I see the coals glowing through the sides like the stars in the sky. All right, this is a problem because if it's that leaky a stove, the wood burns too fast. Because when I come home at night, the house is 45 degrees. It's a 2-story cabin, so to get the top story to 65 degrees, the bottom floor has to be 80. All right, and this wood does burn, but it burns with resentment. Right? I've got to plead, I've got to coax, I've got to argue. And I'm no Boy Scout. I'm way better than a Boy Scout. I know what I'm doing, but the wood won't burn for a while. When it finally does catch, it burns out way too fast because the stove sucks. Which means I pack it at 10 o'clock, burns out by 2 a.m. Or I pack it at 8 a.m. in the morning, and it burns out by 12. So I get home and it's freezing, or I wake up and it's freezing. That's how I started doing 40 push-ups in the morning every day to get warm. Anyhow, so winter's over. It was a miserable winter. I spent it wearing long johns and 3 layers of sweatshirts, 3 layers of shirts in the kitchen. But like finally, mud season arrives. Mud season is Vermont speak for spring. Okay? All right. So I talk to Peter again, and I tell him about all the wood I split, and like how I cut up the logs on my own. And he says, "You cut up the logs?" I say, "Yeah." He says, "Were they green?" I said, "Yeah, but they dried out when I stacked them, right?" And he says, "No, you were basically burning wet newspaper." Yeah. All right. So he laughs. He's Vermont. He said, "Look, don't worry. They say when you heat with wood, it warms you up twice. First when you split it, second time when you burn it." I was like, "Peter, it burned me 3 times. The first time when I split it, second time when I stacked it, and the third time when I found out I was as green as the wood."